Hey, I'm Livingston.
Hi, I'm Daniel.
Hi, I'm James.
My first encounter with pornography was, I would say, around grade 7, about 11 years old. We went to a friend's house where he had a stash of pornography magazines in this little lock box, and um, yeah, that's the first time I saw pornography in my life, and it was um, interesting to say the least.
My first encounter with pornography was in middle school. I went to my friend's house during lunch and I was playing computer games. And his older brother came and he wanted to show me this video. And it was my first time seeing pornography, and it was very shocking, but at the same time, it was very captivating.
My first encounter with pornography was when I was 10 years old. I was over at a friend's house. He had an older brother, so he was already exposed to it. We were just on the computer. He just wanted to show me a video, and it was very captivating.
After that, my interest in pornography progressed as we got the internet in our house, and we didn't have any safety. Our parents didn't know about any safety measures for us, and probably didn't even realize that we could access pornography at that age.
So after my first exposure, I think all through my adolescent years, I was constantly exposed by pornography through friends, through late night television shows, through magazines, and this is something I struggled with for over 10 years.
So after my first encounter at 10, I think it progressed up until high school. And in high school for 5 years, I didn't touch it once, and then I relapsed once I went back into university. Started hanging around a certain crowd, and that's when I started getting back into it.
And so for me, I think I kept going back to it. In the beginning, it was curiosity, but after, it was more of trying to fill a void in my heart and trying to seek pleasure from it. And sort of like an addict, I kept going back to the thing that was harming me and creating me more darkness and more brokenness and more shame and guilt.
I think looking back, I definitely could tell that there were a lot of consequences. I think the biggest consequence was how I viewed women and subsequently how I viewed men. So how I treated my mom, my sister, sisters in church. And I realized my growth was stunted because I didn't have a correct view of what it meant to be a man. I think it also really hurt my relationship with God because I was going to something else other than Him for my joy and for my pleasure, and it was all under my control. I had the power, I could choose when, I could choose how. So I grew less dependent on God for sure. So I didn't have to go to Him for my quiet times to read my Bible or to pray because I could find pleasure in something else. I think the turning point for me was honestly when I just realized that I wasn't happy. I think every time I turned to it, I was believing the lie that disobeying and turning to this thing was gonna make me happy. So when I finally realized that I felt empty and it didn't last, I think that was the point where I said, okay, I gotta start looking for what's gonna really make me happy for the long run. And that was the last straw for me.
At first, I tried doing this on my own. I succeeded for some time, about a month or so, going completely free. But obviously, after the month was done, I relapsed. And the thing that helped me most was going back to my community.
I think when it comes to pornography, if you isolate yourself and you stay secluded, you're gonna have a really hard time. So the first step for me was finding other people who struggle with the same thing, getting into a small group, finding accountability, being able to meet up and pray for each other and share failures and successes. That really helped.
So the struggle for me, I knew it was a heart issue. And so there's this saying, the only way to remove one beautiful object on the soul is to show it an even more beautiful object. And so for me, I had to fall in love with Jesus. I had to see Him dying on the cross for my sins, forgiving me, telling me that I'm not alone and that He loves me.
I think I quickly realized that it was not a matter of willpower. Something was wrong with my heart. I was enjoying something that I shouldn't have been enjoying. So I needed God to give me a new heart. I needed a heart transplant. I think the only way I overcame something that I honestly enjoyed was to be introduced to something that my body and my heart enjoyed even more. So that took a long process. I just had to open up my Bible and I had to pray, God, show me what your design is for marriage, for sex, for men and women, and help me to enjoy it.
For me, to be rooted in Christ means that holiness is more important than anything the world can offer.
So for me to be rooted in Christ, it means to be the godly man that God desires me to be, and to pursue and hunger for holiness and righteousness.
For me, being rooted in Christ means finding my joy